Shout out to my boy Dogan. What is going on, guys? So today I thought we would kind of do this part 2 of like just a year-long journey with Pokemon Masters. Today specifically, I really want to focus on just how the game itself has changed over the last year. Kind of go through like some of the early things and just kind of look at the progression of how the game has kind of evolved, because there's a lot of stuff that's changed and a ton of stuff that just gotten better just in general. So I actually kind of want to start out with this very first video here. Most of the stuff is going to be muted because there's no point in literally doing that. All right, so the first thing, obviously, like when you download this game today, if you download the game today, the only thing that's different, obviously, is the logo. So with the introduction of the first year anniversary, they are going to change the name of the game entirely. I have confirmation that the new name of the game is Pokemon Masters EX. It's not like just we're calling it EX through the duration of the event. That they are completely changing the name, which is interesting. Cool. So other than that, honestly, the only thing that's different is your version, which is completely to be expected. So in this video here, I'm literally going through and starting a brand new account. I'm not going to go through all the steps to that. In terms of like creating a character, it's still the exact same stuff. There's no, I don't think they've added anything in terms of like character customizations. I mean, it's all the exact same thing. I mean, everything's exactly the same. I chose a female when I first started playing. All of this stuff is the exact same. There's nothing that's changed. When you first start the game, of course, you get to become sync pair friends. You get to join up with Misty and Brock, and then you get a little bit of story, and it literally takes you into like chapter 1, where you meet Rosa, you meet Professor Bellis, and then you do like, I think, yeah, so this is the tutorial summon, which like I said, I'm not going to start a new account, but I'm pretty sure you still go through all of that. And yeah, and then there was some extra stuff that we had to play. So from like a first like download experience from a brand new player perspective, it's pretty similar. I do know that they've changed a little bit into the story a little bit. You actually do get to choose an additional sync pair. So you get to choose a free 4-star after like chapter 4 or 5 or something like that. And you get to basically get a free sync pair. So after that, basically there was some story stuff. So of course, whenever the game first launched, there wasn't a ton of story. I think they had a few chapters. I don't know if I even show it in this video. I don't remember like the first like roadblock that they had. Like I can't remember what story. So Skyla, is that still... Okay, Skyla is actually in chapter 5. So when I actually first started playing the game, I didn't actually record chapters like 1 through 4. Well, outside of chapter 1, because it was part of the like very first video that I made. I didn't record chapter 2, 3, and 4 because I didn't think people were going to be interested in the story. And then I was like, well, might as well go ahead and record this stuff because it is actually kind of interesting. I think when the game first launched, we had all the way up to Interlude 1, I think is how it went. Where we got Brock, and then after that we basically had to wait on chapters, I want to say it was up to chapter 13 maybe, and then I remember Viola coming out, which was a pretty big deal, and I think we got up to chapter like 18 maybe, or we might have gotten the second interlude at that point. As time has gone on, they of course have been releasing more and more chapters. But so one of the big things that you'll notice here is the way that the menus and stuff have changed. So this is how it used to look, and I'm sure they just changed this in the most recent update. So it's not like it's, you know, it's not like this isn't fresh off of everybody's mind. But as you can see in the video here, this is basically how it used to look, where you had main story, sync pair stories, training areas. This new like bubble format that they have here, this is what they've recently changed it to, and a lot of people were saying that they dislike it. I personally don't like mind it at all. I kind of like that it has like the picture that goes with it rather than just like this little like book icon for main story. It actually has like the World of Passio events, actually has like banners and events. Battle Villa actually has like the Battle Villa background, stuff like that. legendary arena. Just I like that it has more like visual appeal. I definitely think that's cool. So I actually enjoy this pretty much. It's just I like it. Outside of that, there's not too much that has changed in terms of like from the very beginning. This was the first banner that they had, which was kind of cool. So it basically was just like, hey, this is what we're going to be offering. I don't remember if I actually like show off like all of the available sync pairs. I think I just scouted on it and I got Marlin. Do I show? No, I did a couple. Oh, I also got a Kahili with 2 cannon. And what else did I do? I went ahead and leveled them up. Do I show anything else? No. Okay. Oh, our first 5-star scout. This was kind of fun. I kind of like YouTube this. I like teased it at the very beginning. Yep. And then faded in. So spoilers, my very first 5-star scout was Karen, which is actually super awesome. So when I first started the game, I thought Karen was probably the best character. Olivia definitely did prove to be more useful just because of her crit rate and stuff. I really liked Karen though, so I was really happy getting Karen. Okay, so there we go. There was chapter 7. Oh wow. Okay, so they actually only had up to chapter... Oh, never mind. I unlocked chapter 7. I'm an idiot. Maybe they did have more than that. Here you can see all of the sync pairs. So, okay, here's the main menu. Let's take a look at this for a second. So this menu here has also just recently changed. It's nothing like crazy different in terms of like layout or anything, but like the bottom icons are still the exact same. These down here, and then we do have this little like pop-up menu that kind of contains the stuff on the left now. Beforehand, the egg stuff was over here on the left as well. For whatever reason, they changed that. They also didn't have bingo whenever we first started, which was actually pretty interesting. And then, of course, we had missions are on the right-hand side, as you can see in the video, but they are on the left-hand side now in the new layout. A lot of people also were complaining about this new layout. The only thing that I think they should change is if they drop this little menu all the way down into the corner to just kind of match up, I would be okay with it. Unless they're going to put some stuff down here. Unless they have a plan like for future mechanics or something that they're going to put there, it's fine to leave it there. But right now it just kind of looks empty in that corner. Also, so this is kind of another more recent change, but we also used to have to purchase moves and stuff like that. So there you can see I got Karen, which I was super hyped for. Let's
what do we got?
I was talking about how Karen was like one of the better units, which she was definitely the most powerful special striker like pre-launch. And then Blue came out, and Blue, I do think Blue pretty much took over, especially after the Mega Evolution. So sync pair stories is what you see here in the video, and not much has changed. I mean, it's pretty much the same layout. The only thing that's changed is how you actually get into it, which isn't a huge deal. But yeah, you can kind of see all that, which is pretty much the exact same stuff. So, I mean, visually, in my opinion, this game has improved a ton. I definitely commend them on the visual aspects of the menu. I mean, some of the stuff in the very beginning, I will admit, it was very clunky. Just, I don't know. Sometimes, like, it still is kind of clunky, but it's not nearly as bad anymore. Also, we didn't have a home button. Like, if you were in, like, the main story, if you go through, like, all of these menus here, like, if you do, like, all of this stuff, there was no home button. Like, the only way to get to the home button was literally to just back. Like, you had to go back all the way, which is kind of weird. Like, why would you introduce... I don't know. It was just like... It was a really weird thing that they did. And a lot of people were, you know, like, hey, we need the home button. We need to be able to jump back to the home screen from any point. Like, please let us do that. And they definitely listened. And that's one of my favorite things about DNA is how much they do actually listen to people's feedback, which is nice. So in terms of, I kind of want to talk about like mechanics and stuff like that for sure. So how to get past the level cap. So, okay, game. Initially, there was a pretty interesting way of doing the level cap stuff. I Why in the world was I talking about my Discord? I created a Discord bot and I was like, hey, go check out my Discord. Okay, so this is another thing that was just recently changed, but the level up courses and strike courses and stuff like that, none of that stuff looks like the same way anymore. This is basically what you have. You have the level up area and you have all of your courses in there. You used to have super courses, which were actually kind of interesting, but they removed all of that. You just have these type of things now, that's fine. It's whatever. I still think that there's easier ways now to get better rewards, which I enjoy. So that's another thing that's changed. So to get past the level cap, basically, we used to have to collect all of this stuff. So you used to have, which I probably still have many of these. Okay, so yeah. All right, so buff blends. So regular buff blends, then you had great buff blends, ultra buff blends, and buff blend pluses. We didn't have buff blend pluses for quite a while. That was up until you got to level 120. They had to introduce that, which is just a side effect, and we'll get more and more items in the future to help us upgrade stuff like that. It's just the nature of a gacha game. But we also had tectonics and 8 aids. Those were, like, as you can see, Rosa here as a support, she used 8 aids, and you had to collect these and use those to actually unlock level caps. From my understanding now, basically everybody's up to level 100, and you basically just have to unlock like small bits and pieces up until that. You also had to use all of these to unlock moves, which was a very big hassle, and it took a lot of resources, which is not a big deal. I mean, that was just the way that we played the game. So I never had any problem with it. I grinded out a ton of stuff very early on, and like I just have like this weird obsession with, I want all of my units to be maxed out ASAP. Even in like other games that I play, I definitely just want that to be the way that I play it. I want to have all of my units ready for when I need them. I don't want to have to like, oh, this event just came out, now I got to power this character up or something like that. I hate doing that. So that stuff has actually changed. Everybody's up to level 100 now, which is actually kind of cool because it kind of makes it feel more like the main series games, stuff like that. Also, had to use... Wait, no. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Maybe it's... Yeah, I don't think you had to use these 8 aids or anything like that for moves. Do I show that? Oh, I was trying to summon for Brendan and Trico. Obviously, I got them. Yeah, so that must have been just for level cap. All right, here we go. So you basically went into the character, and you can see that the moves were locked. You had to use TMs, so you had to use these training machines to actually get the moves unlocked. And oh, okay, yeah. So I am remembering it correctly. It did actually cost the 8 aids and stuff. Yeah, you had to use those in tandem with the training machines, and you actually pretty much just bought the moves. Which, it was just a way, like, at the very beginning, a lot of people would actually prefer not to buy certain moves. Like with Will and Zatu specifically, that was one that people did not like to purchase all the moves. This is also pretty different. If you go back and you look at this kind of screen here, you can see everybody has their typings and stuff like that. They've changed that for whatever reason. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it looks different, but I kind of do miss the fact that everybody had their own typing. It was a lot easier to look at, but whatever. So Air Slash was one of the moves that you had to buy for Will, but Stored Power was the move that basically made Will good. So a lot of people actually would just buy our Power is Limitless and leave Air Slash off, so that whenever they autoed with Will, it would be forced to use Stored Power, and it didn't have the option to use Air Slash. Completionist mind here did not work like that. I had to buy the moves and stuff like that, so that's just the way that I did it. So that's something else that's totally different now. Every Pokemon just comes with all their moves done or unlocked and stuff, which is kind of interesting. So up until basically I basically just played through all of the content. So basically, when the game first launched, the content that we had to, or rather on the soft launch, the content that you had was basically story and sync pair stories, and then there was one banner that was live before the game started, and then Blue launched, which was cool. When Blue launched, I actually had a extremely difficult time getting Blue. I didn't get Blue till like a month or two later, if not longer than that. It took forever, but basically Blue launched when the game launched, which was actually super cool. When the game launched, there were a ton of people that played this game when the game first launched. My channel specifically, I mean, you're not supposed to talk about like money and stuff that you make on YouTube or whatever, but I mean, my income from YouTube like went up 10 times, if not more than that, just that 1 month, which was insane. I mean, there was a ton of traffic coming to this game. A lot of people were excited for it. A lot of people were hyped for it. And it was really, really, really fun to see this game. And I thought that it was a very cool experience to be a part of the game before it launched and to see it launch. I thought that was just one of the coolest experiences ever. And if I have the foresight to do that again, I definitely will with another game, because it was just a super fun experience. So Blue is officially here. That's when the game launched, which is pretty insane. Scouting hasn't changed at all, which I do kind of wish that they would introduce some more animations or just something like that. The only thing that's changed is the daily scout. So they didn't have this for the longest time. I don't think they introduced this until like maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, if maybe a little bit longer than that. But it's been pretty recent. Basically, you get items, or you can get sync pairs. I've seen a couple of posts on Reddit before where somebody has gotten a 5-star sync pair here and there. It doesn't happen very often at all, but I've definitely gotten a couple of 3-star sync pairs. I've never gotten a 4-star or a 5-star out of it. And then I usually get skip tickets and pearls, which skip tickets I can use all day long, but pearls are kind of like pointless. They just don't do a whole lot. I just sell them because that's the only thing you can do with them. But anyways, so basically scouting hasn't changed whatsoever. The animations are still exactly the same as the day it launched, which would be interesting if they introduced a different scouting animation, just because it would be something fresh, something new. Maybe they will with the 1-year anniversary. I don't know. We'll have to see. So when the game launched, of course, tons of people flocked to the game. There was a ton of traffic. It was super, super cool. My brother actually got Blue, which was interesting. We talked a little bit about that in the other video. They introduced gear, which was actually, well, I think gear actually launched with the game, but it wasn't very like fleshed out. Still to this day, it's not very fleshed out in my opinion. So gear, basically you have these materials that you have to use. I personally haven't gone through and gotten like all of the gear sets, because it used to be super tedious to get, and I hated like grinding to get it. Now it wouldn't be nearly as bad, but either way, you have to get these cloths, which are type specific. Not only were there cloths, but there are 2-star cloths, which 1-star and 2-star gears, and then there are these 1-star upgrade materials, 2-star upgrade materials. For each different type of gear, you basically had a different type of upgrade materials. So if we go into my gears here, you can see that we have bandanas, we have pins, and then we have bandanas, pins, and then bracelets on the left. So basically you have 1-star, 2-star, and 3-stars of these. You can see I have a bunch of these locked just because it's maxed out, and there's no reason to accidentally exchange it for gold. So all of these gears basically just help improve small bits of stats. I think you get like 25 extra stats or something like that on specific typings that you match up. So where is so like on this team, so you can see I have my ground type gear, which gives me up to 50 if it matches the type, but only 25 if it doesn't match the type of that sync pair. So at the time, the way that they did it, they basically only released gear for certain typings, and you could only get either 1-star or 2-star. Some typings you could only get 1-star. It was very, very, very confusing, and it was something that I think could be improved on, but I don't think that they really care. just to be honest about it, I don't think that they really have like an intention. They fully like released all of the typings the other day, like one of the more recent patches, updates, whatever. Very, very nice. Like I said, I haven't gone through and gotten all that stuff. I just don't really care. Gear to me doesn't make or break a fight. Sometimes it can help you. It used to be a lot more important. One of the mechanics that they changed is in co-op battles, the way that the enemy targets you is always like random at the start, and then it just basically cycles through each Pokemon. In single player, it used to be whoever drew aggro or whoever was targeted first was basically the bulkiest on your team. So there was a bulk like calculation that you could do, special defense, regular defense, plus HP, whatever it was, all like multiplied by 2.5, 2.75, something like that, whatever. That was who it targeted first, then it went to the second bulkiest character, and then it went to the third bulkiest character. Gear would actually help you kind of shift that if you needed to. Like if you needed one character to pull the bulk, then you could add their type specific gear to it. But all that's changed because now we have tactics where you get to literally just choose who pulls the aggro first. I want Glacia to be the first one to get attacked. Then I want, Acerola and then Cynthia to be last. And it doesn't necessarily matter nearly as much as it used to, especially with how much like AoE damage is running around out there. It's just one of those things that it is what it is. It's something that they've changed though, which is kind of interesting. So next, basically, we had Lyra that got introduced to the game. I don't think there were many like huge changes that were coming up here. Just basically, they just kind of wrote out what they were doing with the initial launch, and they were just adding in new characters. Then we got they started talking about Battle Villa pretty early on. I remember that. And Battle Villa, like I said, Battle Villa. So Battle Villa was something that they added, and it was meant to be like people were basically begging for single player in-game stuff, and this was their response to it, which it is very, very much in-game content. I mean, getting up to level 30, some people, whatever, if you want to be that guy, I beat it in one day. That's cool, dude. Appreciate it. There's a way that you can kind of cheat the system so that if you have bad luck, you can not get messed up. They've told me not to say the way to do it, so I'm not going to do that. But basically, to do it in one day, a lot of people would have to use this exploit, and that's just whatever. If you do it straight, I used to do challenges on it, which were super fun. I did a challenge of like only doing like I did a roulette wheel one time. I did only optimize, which optimization wasn't in the game. Like whenever you went to choose a team, if you went to optimize it, like that wasn't in the game at all, which was, it was very, I mean, it's not like it's a huge deal, but it's a nice little like quality of life thing, Anyways, Battle Villa, definitely big. It's crazy that it's still really fun, and they've added a lot more. It used to go only to Hall 25, and then Hall 25 was like kind of where it stopped. But then they introduced Derek, and Derek basically added another 5 halls, and it also added in typings that were not represented as a type that you needed to use. There was no ground type stage, there was no fairy type stage, stuff like that. So that was definitely something that was cool to see them add in. I guess outside of that, there's also not a water stage, which is interesting. Anyways, so that's super cool that they added that. It's just when it first came out, I was all into it. Like it was like it was what I thought was going to be like the most in-game content ever. Like I thought that it was just going to be the coolest thing. So anyways, we got that. Something else that's changed, eggs. We didn't have eggs when the game first dropped, and they've only just recently got started doing eggs. I think we've had, since they've been introduced, we've only had 2 events, the bug type one and the rock type one, which I will I'll go ahead and show you guys really quick all of my rock type Pokemon. Ugh, so horrible. It's such a bad event for me. I got 2 shinies, which is great, but I got 2 Kabutos instead of getting a Kabuto and a Aerodactyl, which was kind of a bummer. And I have completely run out of the eggs, so that sucks. But yeah. Anyways, since they've introduced it, I've gotten, you know, a couple of shinies, which I've showed off in the bug event. I haven't showed off the rock event stuff, but I doubt I will, because I don't know, it's kind of pointless content at this point. So eggs have been really interesting though, because they introduced a totally new type of Pokemon. Not only are they just totally different, they have different mechanics to them. So like Scyther here, I actually need to feed my Scyther these, because my Scyther deserves the best. So there are these goodies. They're basically like little treats that you can give them, and it increases their affinity, which just gives them more stats. So I'll go ahead and give my my Scyther all of that, and that's super nice. I actually I stated in that video, which I guess I'm going to go ahead and follow up on it, that I would give my Scyther everything that I had. So let's go ahead and let's do this here, and we'll go ahead and boost him to 5. Now this doesn't necessarily matter. I don't suggest that people do this, but yeah, that's just, he's my baby, so we're gonna treat him with the utmost respect. So that's something that's been introduced. Those mechanics weren't in the game when the game first launched, and they're just kind of like nice little like additions, and it makes bug type Pokemon unique. And one of the things that they chose to do was sync grids were something that they introduced. And sync grids were, these remind me of like Final Fantasy X sphere grids. I played Dragon Ball Legends for quite a while, and it had a kind of like a grid type feature to it. This is basically like you go in and you have all these tiles that you can kind of like go through and pick and choose what you want. You'll see that some of them have padlocks on them. That's because those padlocked tiles are not unlocked until you get a higher sync move level. So I only have Iris at 2. I only have Iris at 2 out of 5. So because she's at 2 out of 5, I basically can go only up to this row right here, minus the sync move. These outermost tiles are completely locked. You can't touch them. And it's a way to incentivize people to pull for these units. Iris is kind of special because she is a story unit, so 2 out of 5 is basically as good as you can get her right now, unless you spend the resources with your candies and your move candies or whatever to increase her. Now, I personally don't care to do that, but you could if you wanted to get her, you know, up higher. So sync grids were a huge addition, and they still are super, super relevant today. So if you look at Pikachu was kind of looked at as like one of the like, it's your main character in Pikachu. They aren't very good, but after they got their sync grid, they became one of the best healers in the game, like hands down the best healer in the game, up until Skyla came around, and Skyla became the best healer in the game, where like a sync grid literally will change the way that a unit is viewed by the community, hands down. I mean, there's an entire website dedicated to like going into these sync grids, and I use this all the time whenever I have to like max out a sync grid or something like that. You can go in and you can like, it'll tell you like, oh, you know, you need this many energy, you need this many orbs and stuff like that. It's even got popular builds, which you can go through and like, oh, I need a build for Meganium. Here you go. Like, I mean, that stuff's just, it's so nice. And like, so Acerola was viewed as the worst 5-star in the game by far. Everybody disliked Acerola just to the max. But Acerola, when she got her sync grid, dude, she literally skyrocketed in usefulness because she could basically go and become like a flinch master. You could basically start a sandstorm with her, pair her with Cynthia, and dude, like insanely good. So if we go to Palisand here, you can see like the most popular build. It's gonna have, you know, Sand Shelter. It's gonna be kind of focused on getting Sandstorm up and going and let Cynthia do tons of damage, but you're also gonna have the aggravation, so it's basically going to raise the chance of inflicting flinch with Astonish, which is kind of what the secondary effect of Astonish does anyways. It's so good. Like, it literally turned Acerola from the worst 5-star in the game to one of the most useful parts of a team. Like, I really think that the Sandstorm team is probably one of the better teams in the game that actually has like an end goal. Like, it's one of the best synergetic teams by far. Like, throw Acerola, Cynthia, and a healer on a team, and dude, you can like tear through tons of stuff. Now, of course, yeah, you could throw Red and Skyla on a team and any other sync pair, and you pretty much can go all day long or whatever. But it's that team with Cynthia and Garchomp with Acerola and Palisand is just it changed Battle Villa for quite a while. And it changed, like when Entei first came out, that was one of the teams that everybody used because it was so good. It was just so good. Speaking of Entei, we actually didn't have legendaries. Well, let's start with legendaries in general. So we got the first taste of a legendary whenever they announced that Mewtwo would be coming. And that was pretty freaking awesome. I cannot believe, well, I can believe that Mewtwo was the first one that we ever got, but I can't believe that Mewtwo literally changed like the way that you played the game in a lot of senses, because he was the highest single target damage that we had at the time. And you know, Olivia had kind of been running rampant for forever. She was definitely the most powerful unit in terms of single target damage, and Mewtwo came in, was like, I got you. I mean, Shadow Ball and Psychic both, they had the same amount of base power. They were just insanely good. If you paired him with anybody that could boost his crit rate, you could literally, he could solo most stages by himself with no other trainers. You could literally just put Mewtwo in the middle and he would solo it like easy, which was pretty insane. But Mewtwo was introduced, and then oh man, I remember everybody hating this. So they introduced Mewtwo. Mewtwo was very well received. Everybody loved it. Then they introduced Rayquaza. And Rayquaza was not very well received. A lot of people feel shafted with Rayquaza. And it's kind of one of those things where Rayquaza is just like, if you're a Gen 3 fanboy, Rayquaza is your just echelon of like legendaries. Like, he is the top dog, and people felt shafted just because he was not very good. Like, he, as a split type attacker, it just didn't live up. He didn't do a ton of damage. He had a really big drawback with his mechanics and how like he confuses himself and stuff like that. It's just kind of bad. But people didn't like that, and it kind of backfired on them, but just a little bit. They introduced their first mythical, which was Mew with Professor Oak, which was super cool. Like I said in the other video, I loved the way they introduced this sync pair. It was the best event that we've had, hands down. Then after that, they introduced who was the next legendary? So yeah, it was Mewtwo first, then it was Rayquaza, then Mew, and then it was, Ho-Oh, and then Palkia is the most recent one. So Ho-Oh was okay. I mean, people kind of expected after Rayquaza that not every legendary is going to be legendary. Ho-Oh was pretty well tamed. I mean, some people disliked it, but some people were like, it's all right, it's whatever. And then Palkia is, it's okay. I'm not a huge fan of Palkia, but it's all right, it's whatever. So, anyways, as far as like more mechanics that were changed, one of the things talking about Rayquaza, I keep going into that specific menu. Lucky skills were actually introduced, and lucky skills were a way to kind of help you get around certain flaws that your Pokemon may have. So, like, if we do one of these really quick, just to do one, yeah. So there's, of course, there is an entire list of things that you can get. Lucky skills. I want. So if we look at Rayquaza here, Outrage leaves the user confused, sharply lowers the user's special attack. So depending on which route you wanted to go with your Rayquaza, you could basically either do a lesser confusion, like you can lower the chances of getting confused, or you can lower the chances or even mitigate special attack lowering. So like if you look at Dauntless here, special attack cannot be lowered. And if we look at confused, prevents the Pokemon from becoming confused. All right, so we need Crispy Cookie. So if we did a 3-star Crispy Cookie, we're looking for Clear-Headed. I mean, they're both 3-star. It really depends, in my opinion, looking at the power.
Hope for our...
Hush, hush, hush. Looking at the power, Outrage is only 138, where Draco Meteor is 163. Accuracy is 90. So I'm more of a gambler myself. I would personally go with Draco Meteor more often. So maybe we want Dauntless on this guy. Looking for Dauntless here. Dauntless would be a Creamy Cookie. So basically what you would do is you'd go through here and you would find that's a Chewy Cookie. It's a Crispy Cookie. That is a Creamy? Yeah, Creamy Cookie. So I want to use a Creamy Cookie. You would use the cookie, and it basically rolls, and you get... All right, I got Haste, which means that speed cannot be lowered. Now, does that help my kit? Not in the slightest. So let's go ahead and let's try to roll again. Anything would be great. Unbending. Okay, yeah. And you had the option, like, oh, I don't like... So look, if you had the option to basically change it or not change it. You go through. We had Stalwart, which special defense cannot be lowered. That's great on other sync pairs, not on us. So do we want to change it? No, that's fine. We don't want to. So we didn't overwrite it. So we still keep unbending. The reason that they did that is because, as you can see, Lesson Poison here, if you had like Lesson Poison 5 and then you rolled a Lesson Poison 1, obviously you wouldn't want to take that. You would say, no, I don't want that. I already have Lesson Poison 5. So let's see if we can get Dauntless on this boy real quick. Haste again? You gotta be kidding me. Actually, I guess it'd probably be faster to reject it. I'm gonna use all of my freaking Creamy Cookies. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. So when Lucky Skills first got introduced, I rolled for Critical Strike 2 or 3 or whatever it is on Charizard. Got it first try. When there was another sync pair that came out. Dude, Haste, go away. Okay, so I can also kind of talk about like the 2-star ones here. So this 3-star Creamy Lucky Cookie, you basically had a 12.5% chance of getting Dauntless, but you could also roll a 1.16% chance at a level 2. So, well, you know, you can kind of see this as well. And then you can Stout Heart mitigates the reduction of attack. Since it's Stout Heart 6, that basically converts into like a formula, and I forget the exact formula, but basically you can, it's like a 60% chance or 70% chance or something like that, that you don't end up getting, it's either that you don't get the attack lowered or it only lowers it 60% of what it would have or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of like more in depth than what a lot of people would care to venture out for. I kind of want to go ahead and get Dauntless. Okay, Enlightenment 9, perfectly fine. If any stat is reduced, mitigate the reduction of that stat, period. So that's actually good.
Nice.
Now, Rayquaza can't have his special attack lowered, which is all we wanted, but now it can't have its speed, it can't have its attack. Enlightenment 9 is definitely the one that you want. Definitely. All right. So, anyways, lucky skills were really cool when they were introduced. A lot of people really jumped on those, and you can use them to a very effective degree. So, if we look at Serena here, Serena has Troublemaker, so it raises the chances of getting or inflicting status conditions. Where is Troublemaker? So you can see here, raises the success of status moves that inflict status conditions, which is huge. Basically, like if your hypnosis only has 75% accuracy, it increases the chance of success, which is exactly what you want with a sync pair like that. So lucky skills were definitely huge when they first came out. They definitely changed. They didn't impact sync pairs nearly as much as sync grids did, but they definitely impacted sync pairs in a very big way. Outside of that, there's not really any like huge mechanics as far as sync pairs go. Affinity just for egg Pokemon, sync grids for every Pokemon except if it came from an egg. Lucky skills for every Pokemon. Type skills we don't actually have yet. They've teased a little bit. It's supposed to come out with the 1 year anniversary or something close to the 1 year anniversary. They're supposed to introduce that. Potential and move level. So potential, it's pretty much the same. You have these promotion tickets and you have to basically give them to a specific sync pair. You can promote them up from 3 stars to 4 stars, 4 stars to 5 stars, and then soon you'll have to do that from 5 stars up until the next one. So that's changed. Upgrade gear, you like I was talking about earlier, you had to go through and give specific materials and it costed coins and stuff like that. So definitely a huge time sink, as you can tell in this game, but that's why we play it, man. We love it. So I don't think there was any like huge mechanic changes after that. Pretty much since then, it's been just slow improvements, UI improvements, quality of life improvements. One of my favorite quality of life improvements is the fact that we now have a summon or a scout again button, which is perfect. I love it. Best feature ever. Bingo, I talked about a little earlier. Basically, they're just like these small little missions that you can do at some point throughout your playtime. They're definitely not like you have to do it like immediately. Just as you play the game and as you experience new things in the game, you'll slowly get it. So like reach level 120 or higher with different sync pairs. It just takes one sync pair to hit that, which is great. There are limited time bingo missions. This one is specifically for the run up to the special, or run up to the 1 year special missions, which just kind of pertain just to this specific event. They've done those in the past for different events, and they're always kind of nice. It's just free stuff. Like, I mean, for these rewards, you got 300 gems right there, 300 gems, 300 gems, 300 gems. So, I mean, you got like 3, 6, 9, 12, 1,500 gems just for participating in the bingo missions, which is half a multi, so definitely good. One of the things that I wish they would consider changing is the fact that if I spend 300 gems 10 times, I get 10 sync pairs. If I spend 3,000 gems one time, I still only get 10 sync pairs. Every other like gacha game that I've ever played has always introduced some sort of bonus to that. 11 sync pairs, I mean, that's the way it's been in most of them, but just an extra, like, here's the benefit of spending 10 times the amount of one and getting a little bonus. And then they do have scout points, which is kind of their pity mechanic, which is not very, it's a pitiful pity mechanic if I can be honest. 400 points, basically that equates, you get 1 point every scout that you do, so that is 40,000 gems. That's what this equates to, which is ridiculous. And then all you get after you do that is you get to literally go through and you say, oh, I want Lance and Dragonite. And you get to choose that sync pair. Or, oh, I want Caitlyn and Reuniclus. Like, I mean, it's cool that they like give you something if you literally have the worst luck in the game. But man, 40,000 gems is a lot. That's I've never spent that much on a banner. I almost spent that much on Steven, but I did not. I think I was like 5, maybe not even 5. It was something really close. I was 5 or 6 points away from Steven's, which is just insane. Like, I spent way too many gems trying to get him, but you know, gotta spend gotta spend money to make money. Outside of that, there's honestly not too much else that's changed. I mean, the way that the game and the most popular sync pairs, of course, has changed a lot. Like I said, Olivia was definitely the most popular for the longest time. It's definitely not anymore. Red is definitely the most powerful, just the most generic. Like, if you put red on a team, you instantly can basically take out 90% of the game with just red. Add in Skyla and it goes to like 99%. Add in a huge tank that can just tank like either physical or special type damage, whichever one you need for that stage, and you've pretty much got the recipe to win 99.9% of all things in this game. It's definitely crazy that red has become like the go-to for pretty much the entire game. It's pretty crazy. And not to say that there aren't sync pairs that are good outside of red, because there definitely are, and there's definitely like some really cool teams that you can do. Why does it show that? Oh, I guess because it's in the decks.
Inside those three.
Yeah, because I definitely did. I was like, wait, I boosted my Mew all the way up to 5 stars. Why doesn't it show that? Anyways, yeah, so like red is definitely the most like dominant character in the game, I would say now. Olivia definitely was for the longest time. I would say Skyla is definitely the most popular choice for healer. And then as tank, I mean, you can really, there's a couple of different ones that you could go with. Cheryl seems to be pretty popular sometimes. Misty is a pretty good one. Rosa is still really good. Oddly enough, people don't talk about Wickstrom very much, but Wickstrom can be a really good tank. And it's really crazy how good he can be sometimes. But yeah, so, I mean, all in all, this game has introduced a ton of different mechanics from when it started. I mean, just down to like the way that you choose your teams and stuff. I mean, this is totally different now. If we go back to the way it was at the very beginning. All right, you can kind of see it here. So this was like the way that you like, this was the equivalent of this screen. Oh, hang on. This was the equivalent of this screen here, which is pretty similar, right? The only thing that's different now is we have an optimize button, and they've changed the color of the edit button as well. And then there are a couple of more icons. Boosted XP, that's still a thing. You can see these type skills down here. That's what that little like triangle looking thing does. It just signifies that you've got like a type bonus going on. Obviously the typings have changed. They don't have their color of their typings. They only have it on the bottom side. Tactics wasn't a thing at this point, and it didn't show your move levels, like your actual move levels. But then if you look at actually choosing, so this is how it used to look. You used to go and say, all right, I want to change out Olivia, and you basically had the Pokemon that you wanted to change up top, and then you changed it with the one down bottom. This one, you can, it's a lot more free-flowing. You can kind of just do whatever you want, and it's way faster, because to switch out teams the old way, you would have to change Noland, and then you'd have to go in and change Phoebe, then you'd have to go in and change Hal. Like, it was just very, very clunky. And that's what I was kind of talking about earlier. It's just the clunkiness of the app has really, like, they've mitigated a lot of it. There's still a few things, like I said, that are just still kind of there, but it's definitely not nearly as bad. So it's been a wild ride for this entire year. I am super, super like grateful for everything that's happened in the last year. It's just been a very, I don't know, it's just been a really fun year. And Pokemon Masters has definitely provided a lot of fun. And I mean, as you can see, I have definitely enjoyed it, because I have made over 365 videos. We determined in the last video that I've definitely made more than what's in this playlist, but I've made more than 365 videos for sure on this game. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. It's been super fun, and I'm pretty excited to see everything that's coming up in the future. We have, you know, the anniversary, of course, to look forward to. We're releasing Signasuit Blue, Signasuit Green, and Red's coming back, which is going to be amazing. a lot of people I know missed out on Red, and the fact that you're gonna have the chance to get him again is pretty nice. Because I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, I didn't get Red, I quit," which is, I mean, it's fine, man. Do you, whatever. But anyways, I'm excited. I'm grateful, and I appreciate that the people that have watched me in the last year, if you've stuck around, it's amazing. I mean, even if you've watched one of my videos at any point, it's pretty awesome to me. I like that. I think that's cool. But yeah, so that's actually pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. Just some crazy things that have happened over the last year in terms of the game itself. And I kind of like always finish off with a scout, but I feel like if I do that today, I'm gonna ruin my my sweet 24,000 exactly. So I think we're just gonna not do that today. I know, hate me. I built up all that to not do anything. So that's yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to go over that and kind of just reminisce a little bit, because this year has been, like I said, awesome. Some plans in the near future. I have you guys may notice that I have a Twitch tab open. I have actually been working today specifically on getting I've been working on getting my Twitch back up and going. I haven't streamed in 3 years on Twitch, which is crazy. I thought about streaming again here on YouTube, but I don't know. I feel like I want to diversify. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you so much for watching. As always, remember, if you want to join the Discord, you can do that down below. Also down there is a link to YouTube memberships and Patreon if you want to help support me. And yeah, go follow my Twitch.